Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Brad Newbury here. So I've been a Concord fireman for approximately 9 years, and in that time, one of the greatest debates in the fire service that I've come to realize is which type of nozzle to use for which type of fire. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you the different types of nozzles. We'll talk about their benefits and the arguments for both, and then we'll come up with a solution at the end. So, first off, side one. It's going to be the combination nozzle. Combination nozzle does straight stream or fog. Opens and closes like so. It's got a baffle inside of it. When the water pressure pushes against it, it closes or opens the spring in there, which lets you see water coming out the other end. It's a little bit complicated. There's some moving parts in there, but that's basically the gist of how it works. Side number two, the smoothbore nozzle. The smoothbore nozzle works fairly simply. Opens and closes. Not many working parts. It screws right onto the end of your hose. This has been around since the conception of firefighting. So the conflict, which nozzle to use for which fire? Smoothbore or combination? The major arguments for the combination nozzle are its versatility, so its ability to be very versatile within a fire because it can be either straight stream or a fog pattern. Now, when it shoots a straight stream of water, it is different than the smoothbore shooting a straight stream of water because air is added into the straight stream, so it is not a smooth straight stream. It is affected by air. So that's some of its benefits, or some of the arguments for it, or its versatility. Oh, its protection of firemen. You can change it to fog. If it shoots a full fog, it's 180 degrees. When it shoots 180 degree fog, it's going to protect the guy right behind the nozzle from any flames, direct flame impingement. Side number two, the smoothbore. Now, its low nozzle pressure is one of its very, very positive attributes. So it doesn't take a ton of pressure coming out the end of the hose to operate this nozzle. Where that's beneficial is if you're the one holding on to this trying to put out the fire. There's not a lot of pressure on the end of the hose pushing you back. Some of its other benefits are the fact that it doesn't disrupt the thermal layer within a building fire nearly as much as the other nozzle. The reason it doesn't do that is because there's no air added into the water. It's just a slug of water hitting the fire. So there's much less disturbance to the thermal layer, which causes the fire to go out quicker, causes less steam introduction into the fire compartment. Which causes the fireman and anyone in there who's we're attempting to be rescued to be less likely to feel the heat from that steam. So there's the conflict. There's some of the arguments to each one. Now, for this next part of the speech, we're going to talk about the consequences if departments just decided to choose one of these nozzles versus and not have both. So if you're a fire department and you choose to just have fog nozzles, just have those combination nozzles, what you're going to lose the ability to do is you're going to lose the ability to fight fire with high volume of water and low pressure without a lot of nozzle reaction. You're going to lose some reach, and you're going to lose the ability to not add air into a compartment when you're adding water to it. That's if you chose to just use this nozzle. So, if you're a fire department and you choose to just use this nozzle, you're going to lose the ability to fight gas fires, fight propane fires. You'll still be able to fight them, obviously, because there's going to be a lot of water to them, but not nearly as well as if you had a 30-degree fog, which you could dial in on that nozzle. You're also going to lose the ability to fight automotive fires well, and any exterior type of ground fire well. Any place where you don't want to use a ton of water, because this nozzle only operates well when it has a good amount of water coming out of it. So, there's those, that's what you would lose if you chose to just use one of those nozzles. Okay, so the body of this conflict comes down to a few things. In my research for this, some of the research that I read was from the late Andy Fredericks. Unfortunately, Andy Fredericks died on September 11th, World Trade Center. He was a great fireman. He did 20 years with New York City. He has a master's degree from John Jay University in fire protection. One of the articles that he wrote in 1990 is called Little Droplets of Water. Within that argument, he talks at great length about both the pros and the cons to both of these nozzles. And through the reading of that argument and some of the other research I did, dating back to the 1950s, when these combination /fog nozzles first came to light in the fire service from the late Lloyd Lehman, who bought them in from the Navy and the Coast Guard firefighting side of things. When through the reading of both Andy Fredericks and Lloyd Lehman, I came to understand that the best way, I think, to solve this issue is to take and give your department both of these nozzles. So for interior firefighting, when we're looking at fighting fires in houses, in apartment buildings, within factories and whatnot, you're going to want to use that smooth bore nozzle. And the reason for that is because you're going to get better water delivery with a lower pressure, and it's going to give you the reach, and it's going to give you less thermal interference, which is going to cause less burn injuries to both firemen and people being rescued from the atmosphere. But you're also going to want to have one of these nozzles on your fire truck as well. And the reason you're going to want to have this is because, like we talked about, it's very beneficial for fighting fires like propane fires, gas grill fires, car fires, all those things in the highway. It also gives you the ability to protect yourself when you're fighting those types of fires. So my solution to this problem would be to have both types of nozzles on the apparatus and have the ability to choose both, and educate your firemen to make the proper choice as to what nozzle to use. So they have to know when looking at us faced with a certain type of fire which nozzle they're going to use. So tonight we're going to leave you with this. Very recently, within the last 2 years, a lot of research has come out through NIST and UL, Underwriters Laboratories, which is an insurance company-backed program. And a lot of the research they've been doing is newer techniques on how to fight fires and how important it is to keep air out of a building until we are absolutely ready to put water on the fire. So one of the reasons that one of the ways we're going to keep that excess air out of the building is by not bringing this nozzle in the building, because this nozzle introduces air into the atmosphere, especially when it's in that fog pattern, and it can cause great injuries to the firemen around you when you're using this inappropriately. So through that research, we found that this is a better nozzle for interior firefighting. And I hope that you guys have learned something tonight, and you can take this back, discuss it, and enjoy. Thank you. Have a good night.